So let's continue our discussion. So we are now in Big Picture C, ULU B. So at the end of this unit, I am expecting that you will be able to understand and explain exchange rate and its system and identify the participant in the monetary and financial systems. No? So the meta languages for this unit are the following. First is the central bank. No? So this is the monetary authority in each country that regulates the money supply, issues currency, and manages the exchange rate of the nation's currency relative to other currencies. No. So here in the Philippines, we have the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, no, as our central bank. Then devaluation. So this refers to government action to reduce the official value of its currency relative to other countries. Then trade surplus, no, so meaning we have more export than import. So this refers to a condition in which a nation's exports exceed its imports for a specific period of time, and kabaliktaran, no, trade deficit, meaning less export, then we have more imports, no. So now let's discuss, no. First is the exchange rate, its determination and system. So cross-border transactions occur through an exchange of currencies between buyers and sellers. So a currency is a form of money and a unit of exchange, no. So each country prefers using its own unique currency, which complicates international business transactions. Of course, here in the Philippines, we are using the currency of Philippine peso, no. So to have an monetary transaction abroad, a unit money conversion is universally accepted. So this refers to exchange rate, which determines the price of one currency expressed in terms of another, no. So this is also considered as one of the risks, no, in engaging into international business and trade, because the exchange rate of one currency over the other is really fluctuating, no, from time to time. So the exchange rate fluctuations and similar complications in international business create currency risk, no. So this is the potential harm that can arise from changes in the price of one currency relative to another, no. So a fluctuating exchange rate affects both sides of international transactions, no. For example, for this day, no, then our business is here in the Philippines, no. For this day, we have a gross profit, no, let us say of 1 million. So of course, if we will send that 1 million back to the home country, no, where our business really situated, of course, ang 1 million Philippine peso, no, may somehow na mga changes, no, if atong i-exchange, no, into dollar, no. So basically, dapat na agad tayo partner bank pod, no, to really handle those mga discrepancies, no. So management must monitor exchange rates constantly and create strategies to maintain company performance in light of strong and weak currencies, no. So first is exchange rate, no. So when we talk about exchange rate, this is determined primarily by the demand and supply of currencies, no. So I have asked you, no, sa una at the very beginning of our class, no, katong nangutana ko nga kanus ata malipay, no, here in the Philippines if motaas ato ang exchange rate, no, between dollar or peso, no. For example, $1 is equivalent to 40 pesos, no, compared to $1 is equivalent to 60 pesos. So asa man ta mas malipay ana? $1 is equal to 60 or 60 pesos, or $1 is equals to 40 pesos. So basically, malipay ta if $1 is equal to 40 pesos, meaning the lower the exchange rate, no, much better kung sa atong economy ang tan-awon, no. However, if ato ang business, no, naga-engage into international business and trade, murag somehow maapektuhan ta, no, kay ang isa ka dollar 40 pesos na lang man, no. Pero as totality, no, if tan-awon nato sa isa ka country, meaning makasukol ang ato ang Philippine peso over dollar, no. So that would be some of the things nga dapat nato i-consider, no, in engaging into international business and trade, no. So some currencies are pegged to fixed exchange rates and thus may not respond to market forces, no. So the levels of supply and demand for a currency vary inversely with its price, no. Thus all else being equal. So if we will have the ceteris paribus assumption, so this means the greater the supply of a currency, the lower its price. At the same time, if the lower the supply of a currency, the higher its price. The greater the demand for a currency, higher its price. The lower the demand of a currency, the lower its price. No? So basically, this is the law of demand and supply in relation to exchange rate, no, or currency. Okay, for example, dako kayo ang supply sa atong currency, no? Meaning daghan kayo ang nagtuyok, no, sa ato ang sa ato ang system, no. So meaning mas mububo iyahang value, no, or iyahang price. However, kung lower pud ang supply sa atong currency, no, higher pud ang price in the market, no. So there are four major factors influencing exchange rate fluctuations. Namely, first is economic growth. So this is the increase in the value of goods and services in an economy, no, produces. So it implies a continued increase in business activities and a corresponding increase in consumer need for money to facilitate more economic transaction. So basically, it has a strong influence on the supply and demand for national currencies. Like for example, as what I have said, for example, here in the Philippines, we have this economic growth, no, meaning ato ang GNI, the gross national income, no, sa una atong ginaterman is the GDP, no, or gross domestic product, or the GNI karon, no, nga atong gina-measure na for the status sa business, no. So sa business, I mean sa isa ka nation, if okay bang economic status, no, or what. So sa GNI nagtanaga base, no. And if there's economic growth, meaning there's an increase, no, in the gross national income. And if the gross national income will increase, basically our peso, no, Philippine peso, makasukol na, no, kay dollar. So for example, katong example last ganina, no, $1 is equal to 40 pesos or 30 pesos na lang, no, because of economic growth, no. So that would somehow a good signal sa in totality. Pero kita, if we're engaging into business, then ato ang sales is through dollar, no, tas ato ang exchange, no, ang atong dollar into peso mo baba gyud ang value, no. Then we also have interest rate and inflation, no. So interest rate generally refers to the cost of borrowing money. So for example, ang interest rate, no, for that specific time, no, or kanang span, no, for that year is taas ang interest rate, of course maapektuhan atong business, no. Ma-discourage ta mag-loan, no, sa mga financial institutions or what, no. However, if okay po ang interest rate of that would somehow signal us nga pwede ta mag-utang, no. And the inflation, no. So inflation on the other hand is an increase in the price of goods and services, no. So nag-increase, no, we have two types of inflation, the cost push inflation and the demand pull inflation. So I believe I already have discussed this to you, no, that when we talk about cost push inflation, ang hinungdan ng inflation is because titaas ang mga raw materials, no. So because of the increase in the cost of production of that specific good or service, kinahanglan pod mag-increase ato ang prices, no. One good example aning cost push inflation is what is happening right now, no, between the war of Russia and Ukraine, no. So here in the Philippines, though wala tay labot, we are affected still because of the economic factors, no, nga brought about that specific war, no. Kay tungod, as you can observe, no, our oil, no, or ang langis naga-increase, no. As of the moment, tag 68 na, tag 64, no. Ang diesel nga tag 40 plus una, tag 64 na karon. So meaning the cost of transportation will also increase. And if magtaas ang cost of transportation, that would demand nga dapat patasan pod ang prices, no. So that is the reason why we are currently facing right now cost push inflation, no, in our economy or in our market, no. Second type of inflation is the demand pull inflation, no. So this is brought out because of the ni dagha, no, or ni increase ang purchasing power sa isa ka locality. Kung example ani last time is katong na ay investment schemes, no, of which times 6 times 7 times 4, no, ang return sa imuhang kwarta. So at that would result, no, nga daghag kwarta ang mga tao, no, and if daghag kwarta ang tao, that would signal nga taas iyahang purchasing power, and if taas ang purchasing power sa kadaghanan sa tao, that would entail nga na mudako ang demand, no, for a specific product or service, and if taas kay demand and dili makaapa si supply, the prices will rise, no, because daghan kay naga-demand sa isa ka product, then ang supply sa isa ka product is baba or tama-tama lang. So meaning the people would somehow kana mapugsan, no, og palit, no, bisan pagmahal. That is why we also have mga regulations, no, sa government to really address this demand pool inflation, no. So we have mga price floor, no, and ceiling price flooring, no, to control the prices of the commodities, no, in a specific market. Then we also have market psychology. So these exchange rates are often affected by market psychology, the unpredictable behavior investors, no, meaning pag mointag market psychology class, no, mao pod ni naga-dictate, no, sa exchange rate usahay kay we will think, no, we will advance ourselves nga atong prediction, okay, mo taas ting exchange rate ani because of this and that, no. So kita mismo naguna-una na ta, no. So we have mga activities to really somehow address, no, sa atong mga predictions. So meaning maapektuhan pod gyud ang currency, no, because of our mga projections, no, because of this market psychology. So herding is the tendency of investors to mimic others' action, no. Particularly kung tayo naka-feel na ka nga sila nagkabuang na, no. Ako pod, no. Ako na lang pod sabay na pod ang uban, no. For example, na predict na ninyo or inyong projection next week mo taas ang exchange rate. So meaning dili nimo ibaligya sa imuhang dollar karon or di pa ka magpakamyo og dollar kay tungod pagpakamyo nimo puhon mo taas man ang iyang value, no, sa Philippine peso, so inana, no. So ang uban is dili sa nila ipa-exchange, no. Then momentum trading occurs when investors buy stocks whose price have been rising and sell stocks whose price have been falling, no. So because of they know, no, nga pag nagababa na siya class, nagababa ang price, no, sa kana nga stock, particularly sa stock market, nagababa, that's the time, no, that we will sell, no, the stocks, and katong naga-price nga nagataas magpalit tag inato, no, because we know nga puhon mo taas pa gyud, no. So depende na sa ato ang projections, no. So that is why dili pod lalim, no, mo engage into capital market stock market, no, kay you will really have mga feelings, no. You will somehow compute sa mga projections kung maunsa ang market, no, pila ka days from now or pila ka hours from now. Then next is government action. So this is what I said, no, kanina nga if there are mga irregularities, no, particularly in the economic factors, no, of a certain country, we have mga government action, no. So kung tahay dako kayo ang daghan og kwarta nga nagtuyok sa kanang mga tao, of course pwede nato patasan ang interest rate, no. That means nga i-discourage nato ang mga tao to have loan, no. So kung daghan kay kwarta ang mga tao sa palibot, no, possible patasan natong interest rate kay para dili pa sila maka-loan, no. So makontrol nato ang money nga nagatuyok. And if ever wala po'y kwarta ang mga tao, no, sa a certain country, of course pababaan natong interest rate for them to be encouraged, no, to have a loan sa mga financial institutions. And for example, na inflation, no, nahitabo, then tag-as kay mga prices, no, sa pamaliton, therefore we will have price ceiling, no. So that is the maximum price nga pwede i-impose. Pag kuan pod, lugi pod ang seller, no, because gamay kayong supply, taas ang demand, no, or na demand. So meaning we will have price flooring, no, meaning that is the minimum amount nga pwede nato ibaligya ang isa ka product, no, kay at least makabawi, no, sa pwede mahimong loss sa seller. So today's major currencies are traded freely with other value floating accordingly, no? According to the forces of supply and demand. So the exchange rate system today consists of two main types of foreign exchange management, which is the floating system and the fixed system.